The end didn't start with a war. It started with a dream. Baldr was the best of them, the god of light, the beloved. Where he walked, the flowers bloomed. Where he smiled, the shadows fled. But even light has a shadow, and Baldr's shadow was growing. He woke up screaming, not from pain, but from the cold. He saw his own funeral. He saw the sun turn black. He saw the halls of hell waiting for a guest who should never arrive. The gods of Asgard gathered. They didn't know fear, but Baldr's pale face terrified them. If the light dies, we all die in the dark. Odin, the All-Father, didn't wait for destiny to knock. He saddled Sleipnir and rode to the edge of the world. He rode to the gates of the dead to find a seeress. He demanded answers from a grave. The answer was a whisper from the dirt. The mead is brewed for Baldr. The floor is swept for the King of Light. The nightmare was real. Fate had already cashed the check. Frigg, the Queen of Asgard, would not accept the grave's whisper. She was a mother, and a mother's love is a force of nature. She traveled. She walked through the 9 realms. She spoke to the iron in the mountains. She spoke to the fire in the deep. She spoke to the water in the oceans and the plague in the air. Swear, she commanded, swear that you will never harm my son. And they swore. The stones promised. The steel promised. Even the trees and the venomous snakes bowed their heads and gave their oath. Frigg returned to Asgard, her heart light. Her son was now a god among mortals. He was a miracle. He was invulnerable. Asgard celebrated. They turned their fear into a game. They took Baldr to the great plains of Ida. They drew their swords. They swung their heaviest axes. They threw massive boulders at his chest. Everything bounced off. The steel refused to cut. The stones refused to bruise. Baldr stood in the center of a storm of weapons, laughing. He was the center of a perfect world, a world without consequence. Loki watched. He didn't see a miracle. He saw an insult to the natural order. Loki hated perfection. It was boring. It was a lie. He transformed. He became an old woman, limping, fragile. He found Frigg in her hall, spinning gold thread. "Is it true?" the old woman wheezed. "Does everything really love him? Is there nothing in all the 9 worlds that would dare to hurt the golden boy?" Frigg smiled, the pride of a mother blinding her. "Everything," she said, "except for a small thing, a sprig of mistletoe. It grows west of Valhalla. It was too young to swear an oath, too small to matter." The old woman nodded and left. Loki went west. He found the plant. It was weak. It was parasitic. It lived off the strength of others. It was perfect. He cut it. He sharpened the wood into a fine point, a tiny green needle in a world of heavy iron. Back on the plains of Ida, the game continued. The air was thick with the sound of laughter and clashing metal. Only one god stood apart. Hodder, Baldr's brother, the blind god. He stood in the shadows of the outer circle, listening to the joy he couldn't see. Loki approached him. His voice was a velvet poison. "Why don't you join the fun, Hodder? Why don't you honor your brother like the others?" "I have no weapon," Hodder said, "and I cannot see where to aim." Loki placed the mistletoe sprig in Hodder's hand. It felt like nothing, a twig, a feather. "I will be your eyes," Loki whispered. "It is a small tribute, a gesture of love. Point your hand here. Throw it now." The gods went silent for a moment as the blind brother stepped forward. No one stopped him. Why would they? Nothing could harm Baldr. Hodder threw the twig. It didn't hum like an arrow. It didn't whistle like a spear. It drifted through the air, almost invisible. It struck Baldr in the chest. It didn't bounce. It didn't fall. It slid through his ribs as if his skin were made of mist. It pierced his heart. The laughter didn't stop all at once. It died in waves. Baldr looked down at the green stem sticking out of his tunic. He looked at his brother. He looked at the sun. Then he fell. The sound of his body hitting the grass was the loudest sound in the history of the world. It was the sound of a broken promise. It was the sound of the end. Asgard froze. The gods couldn't speak. They couldn't move. To touch the body was to admit it was real. To look at Hodder was to look at their own failure. Loki was gone. The shadows had claimed him. The golden era was over. The oaths were broken. The invulnerable god was a corpse, and the blind god was a murderer. Frigg's screams finally broke the silence, but they didn't reach the halls of the dead. Baldr was already there. Hel was waiting. She had been sweeping the floors for a long time. The light was gone. The long winter was coming, and for the first time, the gods felt the cold.